Salahuddin Ayyubi, most powerful Muslim empires #shorts. Welcome to the movie on Salahuddin Ayyubi and the Ayyubid dynasty, one of the most powerful Muslim dynasties in history. Briefly explain the subject and what viewers may expect to learn. The rise of the Ayyubid dynasty. Discuss the beginnings of the Ayyubid dynasty, especially the role of Salahuddin's father, Salahuddin Ayyubi. The Ayyubid dynasty was a Muslim state that came to dominance in the 12th century. Its beginnings may be traced back to the leadership of Salahuddin Ayyubi, Salahuddin Ayyubi's father. Salahuddin Ayyubi was a military officer who served in the Seljuk Empire before becoming the governor of Egypt. Explain how Salahuddin rose to prominence and became the king of the Ayyubid dynasty. Salahuddin Ayyubi was a notable military commander who came to prominence in the Ayyubid Empire via his military conquests and strategic relationships. After his uncle, Shirkuh, died, Salahuddin became the vizier of the Fatimid Empire in Egypt. He subsequently proceeded to strengthen his position and finally became the king of the Ayyubid dynasty following the death of his brother, Al-Adil. Describe the breadth of the Ayyubid Empire at its height and its effect on the Muslim world. At its height, the Ayyubid Empire spanned from Egypt to Yemen and encompassed areas of present-day Syria, Iraq, and Saudi Arabia. Its military strength and impact on the Muslim world were owed in large part to the leadership of Salahuddin Ayyubi, who is recognized as one of the greatest military commanders in history. The Ayyubid dynasty also had a vital influence on the cultural and intellectual development of the Islamic world, encouraging the arts, sciences, and literature. Salahuddin's military campaigns detail some of Salahuddin's most renowned military operations, including the recapture of Jerusalem during the Crusades. Salahuddin Ayyubi is recognized for his legendary military operations during the Crusades. One of his most major victories was the recovery of Jerusalem from the Crusaders in 1187, following which he gave amnesty to the vanquished Christian army. Salahuddin also successfully defended Egypt against the Crusaders and enlarged the Ayyubid Empire with military victories in Syria, Iraq, and Yemen. Discuss Salahuddin's leadership style and military tactics, especially his use of diplomacy and alliances. Salahuddin Ayyubi's leadership style and military strategy were defined by his use of diplomacy and alliances. He was noted for his ability to make amicable agreements with his opponents and develop partnerships with other Muslim leaders. Salahuddin was also a master of siege warfare and employed techniques like his surprise assaults and psychological warfare to beat his opponents. His leadership and military skill were vital in the success of the Ayyubid dynasty. Highlight some of Salahuddin's most important successes and achievements as a military commander. Salahuddin Ayyubi's military career was highlighted by significant wins and successes. One of his most famous successes was the recapture of Jerusalem from the Crusaders in 1187. He also successfully defended Egypt against the Crusaders and enlarged the Ayyubid Empire with military victories in Syria, Iraq, and Yemen. Salahuddin's military leadership and strategic acumen made him one of the greatest commanders in history. Salahuddin's legacy. Explain how Salahuddin is honored and commemorated in the Muslim world today, including the various monuments and sites named after him. Salahuddin Ayyubi is revered and honored in the Muslim world today as a hero and a symbol of resistance against foreign invaders. His leadership, military successes, and chivalrous character during the Crusades have gained him the esteem and affection of Muslims everywhere. Many buildings and landmarks have been named after him, including the Salahuddin Citadel in Cairo, the Salahuddin Mosque in Damascus, and the Salahuddin University in Erbil, Iraq. Discuss the influence of Salahuddin's military actions on the Crusades and the greater history of the Middle East. Salahuddin Ayyubi's military actions during the Crusades had a profound influence on the history of the Middle East. His successes against the Crusaders reduced their influence on the area and signaled the beginning of the demise of the Crusader nations. Salahuddin's military triumphs also served to unify the Muslim world and instilled a feeling of pride and nationalism that exists to this day. His legacy as a military commander and politician continues to be studied and admired by historians and researchers worldwide. Consider Salahuddin's impact beyond his military victories, including his sponsorship of the arts and his position as a uniting force in the Muslim world. Salahuddin Ayyubi's impact stretches well beyond his military triumphs. He was also a patron of the arts and a scholar who promoted the growth of intellectual and cultural activities in the Islamic world. His attempts to unite the Muslim world and establish a sense of shared purpose and identity have had a lasting influence on the area and continue to inspire people today. Salahuddin is recognized not just as a military hero, but also as a cultural and intellectual leader who left an unmistakable impact on the history of the Middle East. Conclusion: summarize the major elements of the video and what viewers have learned about Salahuddin Ayyubi and the Ayyubid dynasty. In this video, we have learned about Salahuddin Ayyubi and the Ayyubid Empire. Salahuddin ascended to prominence and became the ruler of the Ayyubid dynasty via his military victories and diplomatic abilities. He is recognized for his successes during the Crusades, his sponsorship of the arts, and his attempts to unify the Muslim world. Salahuddin's legacy as a military hero, politician, and cultural figure continues to inspire people throughout the globe today. End with a call to action or a question to stimulate interaction and conversation. Now that you have studied about Salahuddin Ayyubi and the Ayyubid dynasty, what do you think about his legacy and influence on the Middle East? Do you believe his leadership style and military tactics might be applicable to modern-day conflicts? Share your opinions in the comments and let's continue the discussion. Remember, understanding about history may help us comprehend the present and affect the future.